Hello, this is Deanne Pozzi and Gemma Pozzi. I am the ProverbsGuys President, and Gemma is the gatekeeper to keep me halfway sane. I'm in love with Jesus Christ, and since 1981, when God delivered me from the darkness into the light, and we're here to tell you that we love for you guys to listen to our shows on ProverbsGuys on Sundays. I do a Desginer talk showing the intelligent, designly creatures, plants, universe that is evidence, just evidence. It is evidence of a designer, or if it's evidence, I don't see how it can be of undesigned process, but the cause we see of the material universe is better with the designer. We are helpers at a ministry in Gemma's hometown of the Philippines. Beautiful place, beautiful people, and a lot of poor people though that we help out. Thank you everybody for watching ProverbsGuys Ministry. Dan Pozzi and First Lady Gemma
Pozzi.
Well, here we are. At least I am. And, what's that? That is supposed to go away. I see something white. Get rid of it. Welcome. God's best to everybody. And as the promo said, this is the Designer Talk by landscape designer and horticulturalist Dan Pozzi. And today we have an exciting show, I think. Me, myself, and I. Hopefully the Lord's in there, the Holy Spirit. So I'm going to show a little one, pretty much like how do the proteins. We go into nature here. We go into design aspects of what we can see, observe, experiment with, and repeat those experiments. And so it's the challenge. It is either designed by a designer, or it is it just gives the appearance of design. Appearance of design means really not, and there isn't a designer. That was the quote from Richard Dawkins. So I want to get into that. Get into then the protein, our cells. So it must be easy, because 2026, we got a lot of smart people that have been working out there since the 50s. Before that they didn't know much, but Miller-Urey, that Miller-Urey experiment back in the 50s just showed that life could pop out from no life, because the building blocks, they created the building blocks through a little scientific experiment of thinking they were copying early Earth and putting a bunch of chemicals in a sterile environment. And wow, doesn't sound like the Miller-Urey experiment was done without design, but we think the whole universe and everything in it can. But like I said, I didn't watch this one yet. Again, this will be just one we go together. It's from a medical institution. That's not it. Oh, creating proteins, YouTube. Let's see what we got here. Let's upload it. There it is. Let's put it full. And let's get it full up there. Where'd you go? How your body makes proteins. Let's get this like that. And let's start this thing.
Protein synthesis is the process by which the body creates proteins. Proteins consist of chains of amino acids. Which amino acids used and their sequence determines each particular protein. The assembly of amino acids into proteins takes place in cells. The first stage, transcription, occurs in the nucleus. The second stage, translation, occurs in the cytoplasm. Transcription is the process of converting instructions for assembling a protein located in the cell's DNA into messenger RNA. The template for building messenger RNA is a genetic sequence along a section of the DNA strand. Each strand of DNA contains nucleotides with complementary bases. Adenine pairs with thymine and cytosine with guanine. To start transcription, an enzyme called RNA polymerase attaches to the beginning of the DNA template. A sequence of 3 DNA bases, called a base triplet, contains information for assembling each amino acid of a protein. RNA polymerase reads the base triplets to build messenger RNA using free nucleotides. Corresponding messenger RNA triplets are called codons. In mRNA codons, uracil replaces thymine. Once the mRNA is built, certain enzymes remove introns, or sections that will not be used to build the protein. Enzymes splice the remaining ends, or exons, together. Then the functional mRNA leaves the nucleus. Translation is the process of using messenger RNA to assemble amino acids into a protein. The structure that will read the mRNA, called a ribosome, attaches to the mRNA strand. Initiated by a start codon, the ribosome reads each subsequent codon, which signals a transfer RNA molecule that has the matching anticodon sequence and specific amino acid. The process continues as additional transfer RNA molecules attach, bringing the correct amino acids to build the protein until the protein is completely assembled, signaled by the stop codon. After the assembled protein breaks away from the ribosome, its subunits detach from the mRNA.
Wow. Okay. This is crazy talk. Let's get out of here. Get out of there. No, don't start.
This is your brain.
It's not my brain. I protest. Looks like a lot of squigglies. I'll get out of here. There we go. Okay, that was interesting. But at the same time, we're just looking at our brain right now because the thing is stuck. It is stuck. And we have to go through that again because that was crazy. So let's find this thing. How did I get there? How did I lose it? Anyhow, we are having difficulties as usual. I'll say, wow, I can see the light. Oops, over there. Can you see the light? No, it's not Jesus. It's a reflecting thing out of the window, but we got to get back there. How did I do that? So actually I wanted to tell you what else we're going today. Well, I find out what happened to this. The had a speaker today name is Daniel Ritchie. He was born with no hands, no arms, and we will give his testimony later because it is really awesome. But first, let's do this again. Oh, stop that. Stop. Okay, we got to go through this again. I don't even know if we're on the air right now, but we're going to go like we are. Okay, let's add this again because did you guys notice that? It was talking about, oh, it's right over here. Here we go. Let's put up. It was saying this is how the body creates proteins, and we're going to do this. We are going to design a little protein creating because that looks just like a little bunch of kid toys, and we can do that. They did that, but let's get this thing started because
It creates proteins. Proteins consist of chains of amino acids. Which amino acids used and their sequence determines each particular protein. The assembly of amino acids into proteins takes place in cells.
okay, so amino acids. I think that's what they came up with in the Miller-Urey experiment in the 50s. But we got a problem here. I've been studying enough here. Dang. So if we have this little cell, and there's parts of the cell in there, we got to create more than proteins. There's a lot of little machines in there, a lot of little parts. So can we do it? Is this evidence that this happened without a designer or with a designer? Now, the problem is, it was talking about making the amino acids or taking the amino acids and building proteins out of them. But the problem is, there is a readable plan in the DNA, a code for making these little amino acid goodies, but it takes proteins. It takes proteins to read the DNA, to decipher the code as you would. And how does it do it? So we're going back. First life. It had to have some kind of reproducible little microscopic life. I don't know, maybe it was already huge, but it doesn't matter. It had to be reproducible. So even if it was just one cell, this is all we got. This is life. Because cells do reproduce, they'll divide themselves. Quite complex. Thing going on. And so, how do we do this? How do we get to build proteins? Because we need proteins. Do you see our problem here as designers, as creators? We run into a log jam here. I think this is even like helped out by the beavers who jamming all this together. So you see our problem here though. And I see a big one. And let's do more of this.
The first stage, transcription, occurs in the nucleus. The second stage, translation, occurs in the cytoplasm. Transcription is the process of converting instructions for assembling a protein located in the cell's DNA into messenger RNA. The template for building messenger RNA is a genetic sequence along a section of the DNA strand. Each strand of DNA contains nucleotides with complementary bases Adenine pairs with thymine, and cytosine with guanine. To start transcription, an enzyme called RNA polymerase attaches to the beginning of the DNA template. A sequence of 3 DNA bases, called a base triplet, contains information for assembling each amino acid of a protein. RNA polymerase reads the base triplets to build messenger RNA
No,
using
we're
free
stuck. That's a
nucleotides.
protein machine. Wait a
Corresponding
minute, wait a minute.
messenger
Hold the
RNA
tape.
triplets
Hold
are
the
called
tape.
codons.
We don't care about codons because we need a protein machine to get the plans to build proteins. People think about it.
In mRNA codons, uracil replaces thymine. Once the mRNA is built, certain enzymes remove introns, or sections that will not be used to build the protein. Enzymes splice the remaining ends, or exons, together. Then the functional mRNA leaves the nucleus. Translation is the process of using messenger RNA to assemble amino acids into a protein. The structure that will read the mRNA, called a ribosome, attaches to the mRNA strand. Initiated by a start codon, the ribosome reads each subsequent codon, which signals a transfer RNA molecule that has the matching anticodon sequence.
I'm muted because I'm speechless, and I know you guys are too, because you're smart enough to know that if you do not have machines to read the DNA, you can't get anything. We can't build it. We can't recreate this. And we're going to even use the parts that are here. Not parts. We're going to use the building blocks that are already here on Earth. We're going to go and get the chemicals that were here. We're not even going to create the Earth. But you see, our problem here is that, we've got little machines to read the DNA that has the plans for the machines. Guys, help me out here. Forget it. I'm just going to go in the comments because, we've hit a log jam. Krista, love you, girl. And we got Steven and hi, Roman. Thanks. Speedy Roman's here. It said it's raining in Ohio. I'm going to look at my weather thing to make sure he is really there. Are you really in Ohio? Or did you look at it first? Because you're really down the street from me, but you do not want me to know you're my neighbor. I'm not that bad of a guy. Okay. That's if you ask. Well, don't ask my wife. Oh, she likes me today. Okay. But you can see our problem here, guys. We are in trouble. It's a dead end. Abiogenesis is a dead end. It's not a life end. Hate to break that. So, since it is impossible, it's the old chicken and the egg. I know. We'll get our friends out there. They'll be saying, but Dan, It's the God of the gaps. No. This is the opposite. This is Darwin of the gaps. They'll tell us. Darwin would figure it out. We got to get Darwin resurrected so he can tell us. He can tell us how this is working. Where are we here? Yep, building blocks of life do not exist in an epigenetic worldview. Okay, guys, you can keep your faith believing that proteins were built by proteins from the information or the code or the design in the DNA that is replicated, it is corrected by proteins. Sorry, guys. I might not be that bright, but I'd have to say, humanly speaking, you're an idiot if you believe a protein can build a protein without the design, without the code. But we're talking spiritually here. So, novel prediction: people who reject the simplicity that creation needs a creator, you are spiritually blinded. And that's why we're here. And I'm going to give you a little video. I got his permission. Guy born without arms. Now, in evolution and in creation, that's faulty. That is degraded genetics. And I'm pausing more than usual. I think I was doing pretty good with talking without pausing, thinking about what I'm going to say. But Gemma brought home some fudge popsicles. But I didn't say a bad word. And then, anyhow, let's check this out because this is a dead end. Sorry, guys. You have more faith. And Stephen, you're out there still. We shouldn't tell people that the atheists have more faith than we do. I need some rational evidence. Because we know in the Bible, it says that faith is the substance of things we do know about. It's evidence. And this evidence saying that life came from no life is spiritual blindness. Let's be nice. Okay. But now I'm going to go to the guy I heard today. Awesome speaker. I heard him yesterday at a men's conference. Yes, there was many churches got together at our church to study God's precepts, study the Bible in a place that you think probably has no churches. Northern California. Satan's little playground with our hub up here of San Francisco. Okay, here we go. And all right. And actually, Speedy, your joke, he would have loved it. I don't know if he has jokes in this, but I'm going to show. But we will get to some that he has some real. He does a lot of self humor. But all right, since my tech guy is out playing or in playing, what am I doing? Oh, anybody want to come in? I did that on accident, but we'll do it anyway. There's the link. So where we want? Where is it? Oh, it's right there. I gotta get rid of this one first. Sorry, folks. Oh, and that's too many buttons. And it's bad enough when I'm not eating whatever this is. See that I can't even say fudge bar. The jam I brought home. So anyway, focus. So we're gonna get a really nice guy. Really funny because he said he's totally, as you might expect, he's a total recluse, and he would never want to go talk to people. And that's what he does for the last 28 years. Let me introduce to you Mr. Daniel. Where are we? How do we start this? I know. That happens when you have fudge sickles. Okay, here we go. Oh, I didn't put it on yet. Stop, Daniel. Stop. Okay. I'm not going to do this again. I think this one's easier. Okay, we're not having a good time here. Stop that. Okay. Okay, we're not doing right here. Okay, this little thingy's not working. Okay. Excited to show this to you, but we got to get it up there first. You're just seeing me hold this. Here he is. Let's get him up there. And wrong direction. Help me. Oh, I just tripped.
Body matters. Nobody caught the fact that I had a disability. 2 ultrasounds, all sorts of, just prenatal lead up. Nobody knew that I was going to come into the world missing both of my arms. And so the moment that the doctor's holding me there in the delivery room, it's just like this complete and total shock. Just shoots across the delivery room. And then in that moment too, like not only am I armless, but I was lifeless. I wasn't breathing. I wasn't moving. The doctor very quickly, he tried to see if he could feel a pulse on me and he couldn't find a pulse. And so this doctor just...
So catch that last one. So not only it's a surprise, mommy and daddy, your son has no arms, but the doctors knew that he didn't have pulse or heartbeat going. So what do? Man, there must be a trash can real close there. Start over, do over. And because why? This guy has zero purpose in life now because let's back up. We're talking in the materialistic world view, humanist worldview. The only purpose he has is other humans taking care of him to make them feel good about themselves. But let's see what we got going on here.
Holds me up so my dad could see that I didn't have arms. And then he asked my dad, do you want us to let him go?
The doctor asked because it was there. He wasn't alive. He was born without a pulse, born without a heartbeat. Easy. I mean, oh yeah, I would have kept him, but he was already dead. What is the dad? Let's see what the dad.
That's my welcome to the world, sort of moment is this doctor looking at me going, why bother? But for me, it also set the stage for a dad who, from that moment forward, went to war for me. Because in that moment, my dad just simply said, that's my boy. And you're going to do whatever it is that you can do to try to bring him back. And obviously we see that the doctors were able to do that. But yeah, Dad had my back from that moment forward. That's for sure. It's looking back at my life.
I know. Before we get any farther along here, you're going to say, "Oh, why would God create this way?" He didn't. It was perfect. We know whether you're a intelligent design proponent, that it was made perfect, or even if you're a undesigned creationist, no intelligent designer, you'll say, yeah, the genetics, the DNA is being corrupted as we go. So most likely back in the beginning, since there's so much junk in our DNA, not junk as not usable, but junk as the actually, yeah, there is some bad DNA coming in, bad mutations. So you gotta say, man, was that dad bad for letting this kid, this baby who was lifeless, be resuscitated?
Life to, I mean, from moment one, for a doctor to say, do you want us to let him go? For my parents to tell me that story, I was probably 9 or 10 years old when they told me the story of my birth and what the doctor said. And I remember being a kid going, wait, there was somebody that thought that I shouldn't be here because I didn't have arms. And that was, I don't think it landed on my heart like as a gut punch quite yet. But then it was, you get a little older, you become more aware of just how different you are. And that now that there's people that think you're disposable, there's people that think you're not good enough, there's people that think you don't fit in, that weighs on you. That weighs on you, that it's like, no matter what you do, you're not good enough for some people. You're never gonna fit in. That's just like this constant nagging reality that can just hang out in the back of your mind. It hung out in the back of my mind for a really long time. Yeah, growing up, some of the I think most difficult things that I had to learn how to do that I don't think people would expect. I mean, it's like, for me, just doing everyday things like opening doors, figuring out how to twist a doorknob, open it, figuring out how to, stick a crayon or stick a pen in between my toes and write my name. Even just good old Southern boy type things, like figuring out how to fish, like how to bait a hook with my toes, how to cast, how to run a lawnmower, run a weed eater. I mean, it's like what I think a lot of people would just think it's like redneck expectations. I had to, I guess, get a little creative with trying to figure out how to do those things with my feet and with my legs. I think that battle in the early days of just figuring out the nuts and bolts of life, like just going to war and grinding day in and day out, like I'm gonna make my way. I think that physical war set the stage for the mental, emotional, spiritual war. They came with maturity. They came with, people like to use those terms like as we get older, like we're trying to find ourselves and trying to find our place and purpose and worth. Yeah, I think the world, it's really easy to look at me and see 2 floppy sleeves and go, well, that's a struggle right there. His struggle's the whole physical situation. And I mean, truthfully, it's not. Like everything I do in life now, physically, is just second nature. I don't even think about eating, opening doors, driving. It's all second nature. My struggle always has been and continues to be just a mental struggle. Just the insecurities, the fears, the treatment that other people give me, whether it's very subvert, like stares, or every once in a while somebody trying to slip in an iPhone camera photo of me out and about doing my thing. Or it'll just be downright people just being jerks, like just the rude comments that people will say to my face, the restaurants that I've been asked to leave because I'm eating with my feet, like that really makes you feel broken. That really makes you feel like you don't belong, and pushing back against that from moment one until now, that has been my struggle. That is where just daily it feels like I have to go to war day in, day out. My Christ moment of all things is at a youth group dodgeball lock-in. You can only imagine what an armless man at a dodgeball lock-in, how much fun I had that night. So Yeah, I was beaten to death mostly. And then like halfway through the night, youth pastor gets up, talks about God's love, as I'm literally icing my face. And so the night carries on, dodgeball kicks back up, I sit out. And God uses this conversation with a youth pastor who just sees this armless guy sitting by himself, in just like this forlorn situation. And he just slowly starts to talk to me. And he senses my insecurities and I think just my level of being done. And he spends the next hour, probably even more than an hour. And he just very faithfully goes through scripture and talks about how God shows his love for me and how God had made me and how God had sent his son for me and how God uses even the worst of me to show the world his comfort and his grace. That's what changed everything. That was the moment where, I trusted in and rested in Jesus as my everything, and that changed the game. That was the moment that gave me a touchstone to move forward with.
So my evolutionist friend, good or bad, he's about 15-year-old. I don't think he said it in this, about 15 years old. He was asked to a church youth group where he was locked in a gym with a bunch of other high school kids, a lot of them, like him, probably not a believer, and a lot of them believers. And it's, they thought it was fun to target the only kid with no arms. I would think that is pretty pathetic. What bullies? You think the youth pastor was bad because he actually talked to him, gave him hope, and put him on this road? Now he's out there actually preaching to other people, evangelizing, that he can tell you what purpose God can give to somebody's life. Wow, come on, guys. At 15, again, I don't know if he said here, it was a definite negative in his life. At 15, he's testified he wanted to commit suicide. No purpose in life. But that's the message of the godless, of the theist, of people who think they're going to earn their way to heaven, or there is no heaven. Come on, guys. Come on. And sorry I left that joke of Speedy Roman, a friend of the channel, or a visitor to the channel. He's a YouTube friend, because that was a little joke he put up there before we even started. And with that being said, and I haven't heard any here, but Daniel, and why I put it up, I wasn't going to leave it up, but why, and Daniel, he said so many armless guy jokes. It was pretty funny, but he didn't just pick on the handicapped. He said his brother is a 6 foot plus, 250 pound Army, probably career Army if he's in his 40s, who dismantles explosives. And so he made some rather cuts to his brother too, saying that he was a total freak. That was an hilarious moment. But again, if we don't laugh at ourselves, and the sadness in the world, what? It just might as well find our own bridge to jump off with. A guy like this that at age 15 had no purpose, but Christ coming into his life, giving his heart to Jesus Christ, having a relationship with Jesus, put him on the road to what you see today. Somebody driven with purpose.
I knew I had a purpose then, and I knew that I had an opportunity to speak to hope. And then I think to meet an amazing girl, they're in college, to get married, literally, it's like we go on our honeymoon. It's our first week of marriage, and we start in marriage and in ministry the same week. To have this girl along on the ride with me, and to be able to begin to speak life into teenagers, because I started in ministry as a student pastor. So I think to be able to speak life into students, where once a student pastor once spoke life into mine, to see things start to become full circle, to see things start to become an opportunity to be a vessel of hope and grace. It definitely, that spot in my life, that was a sweet spot. That was, I think, what set the stage for so many of the things and the ministry opportunities to come that God gave. Yeah, so I've got 2 kids now that are ages 9 and 6, and I think at this point they're still young enough where it's like, to them this is normal. Like, of course every dad doesn't have arms, right? And so I think there's this odd sense of normalcy where it's like, I clearly know this is not normal. But for them it is. My little girl, she all the time, very matter-of-factly, like, her friend's having a hard time, and she's like, man, my dad eats with his feet, so if he can do that, you can definitely get through. It's just, they have normalized it to a degree where it's just like, it just happens to be a part of their story too, and I love seeing that, and I pray that continues to be the case for them and their lives as well. My challenge to you is going to be for you to realize, no matter what situation you're in, whether you've got all your limbs, none of your limbs, whether you've just had nothing but joy and happiness or frustration and brokenness, God can use your story for His glory. God can use your story and your brokenness to apply comfort and hope to people that desperately need it.
Wow, that came across. I suppose let's do one today, but that came across almost as well as live, but to see his joy and his just his life that you can just see is going full of hope. Gemma got to see him today because he was speaking yesterday, like I said, at a men's conference, and it was just so cool. The hope and the joy that through our brokenness, God can put us back together. God can even give us more strength, more victories than we could ever imagine. So with that, let's throw one today. I've got to go fertilize some plants. They're hungry out there. Probably water too. I can't tell you how upsetting it is because, we start out our mornings at about 60 degrees. And then, right now it's all the way up to at least 85. Although it's in probably only about 80. But in the greenhouse, it's about 100. So we got to go water some plants. So God bless everybody. I just pray that everybody had a great last week, and we'll have a great next week. But give yourself to the Lord, because there is one. Go back to the beginning of this. Proteins are needed to build proteins in the cell, in life. Guys, tell me how it can be done. All the smart people don't know. They just keep telling you, yep, it can be done. I don't trust smart people. Of course, I don't trust stupid people, but why would I trust somebody that said life can come from no life when life is so complex? What's the easiest solution? What's the easiest cause to what we see as a creator designer? God bless everybody, and we will see you on the other side. We're out of here. Oh, let's see. I want one of those cool songs, though. Where is my tech guy? No, he stayed with us. Hopefully, just having a great night with his lovely tech guy wife. What is she? She's above us all. Her and Gemma. lead this thing. Let's see what kind of a song we can have. I don't want that one. Keep going to the wrong button. Let's get out of here with some real cool stuff. Oh, this says final. Maybe that's it. Is that it? Goodbye, all.
Was that queso?
No, it's miso.